We are on episode 18 of Cowboy Bebop, Speak Like a Child. A calm episode. There's no crazy space battles here. There's not really even an antagonist. This episode has one long ongoing joke, and that's the fact that the Bebop crew gets a package in the mail, and when Spike opens it, he finds that it's a Betamax tape that was addressed to Faye Valentine, but she's off gambling her money away at the horse races, losing. So she's not on the Bebop ship to actually pick up this tape that was mailed to her. But they're in a bit of a predicament. It's 2071. Nobody has VHS or Betamax players. Hell, it's 2025. And nobody has Betamax players, and a few people have VHS players, which apparently are expensive now, which is kind of crazy. So while I think this is a substandard Cowboy Bebop episode, it does give me a chance to talk about the war of Betamax and VHS, a war I completely missed, because it ended around 1988. And really it seemed by the early 80s it was clear VHS was going to win. I literally didn't even exist as a person, so I completely missed it. But apparently, Betamax tapes were higher quality and had better sound than VHS, and were quieter when you would fast forward. They did have a limitation though, a limitation that killed them. You can only record stuff for an hour, whereas VHS tapes could do 2 hours. So if you're going to do a movie, let's say you wanted to watch Star Wars, which was released on VHS and Betamax, you have to get 2 Betamax tapes, as opposed to just 1 VHS tape. Also, some people talk about how the porn industry favored VHS. So VHS won, but Betamax was the first format to come out in 1974, with VHS following a year later in 75. So this is kind of funny. What if in 2071 you were given a VHS tape? Now, Cowboy Bebop came out in 1998, so this was at a time where everybody watched VHS. DVDs came out in 97, but didn't hit critical mass till a few years later. And so this was them thinking of the future. They knew this VHS technology was going to be overtaken by what they thought would be discs. It looks like it's actually just going to be streaming. Everything's going to be on the internet and streaming. They didn't exactly see that coming. Another funny thing is we get to see Faye Valentine's phone, and they're almost correct on what phones will look like in 2071. I don't have an exact answer to that question, but it's definitely not going to look like something like this. This is a flip phone that has a screen where you can talk on it and watch video. They were close. No, phones 15 years later from when Cowboy Bebop was released, we're going to have giant screens on them with touch pads. But I could see how they would mix this, because my first cell phone, and I got one quite late, was a flip phone, and then I switched to an iPhone. And I still liked having a tactical keypad to type things in. I still would want that. If they had an iPhone like that, I would use it. And when you closed it, the flip phone, it would actually protect it. So if you drop this thing, it really wasn't that big of a deal. I could see why they would expect flip phones to continue, because now we have phones where the screens are completely exposed, and what happens? You drop them, they break all the time, even if you get those rip-off screen protectors that try to sell you that you can hit it with a hammer and it'll break. That's not true. Don't hit your phone with a hammer. So in the future, 2025, we just deal with phones breaking all the time. The screen protectors are getting better, but come on, they're not anywhere close to foolproof. And that's really all that happens in this episode. They go to a guy who specializes in old technology, and he's thrilled with this Betamax tape, and he starts playing it, but then Spike kicks the Betamax player and he breaks it. Then they go into this antique museum, which just consists of them going down a elevator shaft and then going through the sewers. I remember when I first watched this episode many years ago, this really stuck out to me as being the most boring part of not only this episode, but probably Cowboy Bebop in general. They're so good at doing different types of scenes that are exciting or meaningful. This 5-minute slog through the museum where you don't really see anything interesting, they're just walking through a sewer, I think is a slight misstep in what is otherwise a perfect series. They find a Betamax player, and then they're able to finally play this tape. And it's of Faye Valentine's childhood. This is supposed to be sentimental, and it is a little bit at the end, but you still don't really learn that much about her. It's her as a kid, but she's just doing a little cheerleading thing, and then you see her with some of her friends. Faye Valentine came from a research facility, so you'd want to know her backstory. She's trying to figure out her backstory, but this really doesn't clarify anything. You see her room, but she doesn't say anything about what she likes, where she's living, who her friends are. You see pictures of them, who her parents are, anything like that. So I think this is a missed opportunity to actually fill in her backstory. We have this whole lead up to this Betamax, keep saying VHS, Betamax tape playing. They then do play it at the end, and you see some scenes of Faye Valentine, but still learn nothing about her. Outside of the fact that she apparently was a cheerleader, I guess. So I'm going to give Speak Like a Child a 4 out of 10. There aren't any bad Cowboy Bebop episodes. I recommend watching them all, but this is a duller entry, and definitely not an essential one. Since what could have been something exciting, learning about Faye Valentine's backstory, you don't actually do that. And it's funny watching them mess around with this VHS tape, but they could have done that in the first 5 minutes of the episode. The entire episode is them just trying to find a VHS player. I keep saying VHS, Betamax. Good lord. I never owned a Betamax player. I did have a VHS, and my parents waited forever to get a DVD player, so I actually watched a fair amount of VHS, but I really should have been watching DVDs. And it is interesting to learn about this format, especially if the images are supposedly higher quality, and the sound is better. Just another example of how cheaper is better. Will Betamax players make a comeback? Who the hell knows at this point? Records made a comeback. I never thought that would happen. And VHS players cost a fortune, so your guess is as good as mine. There's definitely a contingent of people that are nostalgic for VHS. Personally, I would say I'm more nostalgic for DVDs. I could possibly see them becoming collector's editions, because when Blu-ray took over DVD, their packagings were simpler, they had way less special features, and especially on the early DVDs, they tried crazy stuff like actually putting hidden games in on the DVDs that they would never try again, so I could see things like that becoming collector's editions. Commentaries, behind the scenes stuff, that would be quite difficult to find online. That's Speak Like a Child. We talked more about beta and VHS this episode than the actual episode, but that's all this thing was about. Next up is Wild Horses, where we get a cowboy, Spike Spiegel. And also check out our playlist. We're covering every single episode of Cowboy Bebop, every episode of Monsters, Fear Itself, Tales from the Dark Side, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Black Mirror, Pet Shop Horrors, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Twilight Zone. Oh, we're doing it all. Thanks a lot.